Hey guys, today we're going to talk about arena clubs sending what I consider to be predatory emails to former customers. This is the kind of thing that I don't like seeing in this hobby, and I really want to unpack and hear what you guys have to think down in the comments below, because stuff like this is just not on, in my personal opinion, and this goes to everything that is wrong within the sports card hobby, the sports card industry right here, right now. And apologies for my kids going absolutely crazy in the background, but for those of you that have kids can probably completely understand with what's going on right now. So it relates to this email over here from Arena Club. Now, I saw this 4 days ago. This is when the post was made on the subreddit for Arena Club. But it's an email where they're talking about the fact that they're worried about a customer having not spent money with them for quite some time, and they're looking to have them return. Now, I talked about this on my live stream, and I think 90% of the people today didn't like it, and obviously want to get your thoughts down below. Now, this email essentially says, we're worried about you. Hey, it's me, the guy who writes all the emails at Arena Club. I normally don't send emails like this, but are you good? 1 minute you were ripping slab packs and then you just stopped. Hope everything is well. If it is, you should go rip another slab pack so my boss doesn't get mad at me for not being able to convince you to rip another pack. Thanks. And then obviously there's a direct link to go ahead and open some product. Now, for me, this kind of thing is just not on. I think it's incredibly predatory, especially when you think about what Arena Club actually is, right? And I've raised concerns in the past about how this is very much gambling, and I think it's really hard to argue against it being gambling. Now, some people will talk to the fact that you're guaranteed to get a pack, right? You open up a pack, you're guaranteed to get a card, so then it's not gambling, you're getting something, you're just having a bit of fun, and they've tried to compare it to, sports card boxes and things like that. But to me, this is very different. And the way I've explained it in the past as being very different is the way in which it's sold, right? You go on their portal, and you can just click buttons, and then next minute you've spent thousands of bucks. And if you look at the way it's being marketed, and you guys will be fully across that by now, but they use ads with attractive women, they'll use ads with breakers, and they'll show people getting grail cards. They'll push things with Jeff Wilson and in his channel, they'll push all this narrative of you chasing the grail, you chasing big money, and you can hopefully get something cool for your collection. But it's done very much in a way that's focused on the value. And when you sort of couple that with emails like this, I think it just gets really uncomfortable. And I talked about that today. I don't like the way in which this is sort of trying to entice somebody to go ahead and open their product. And when you look at it through the lens of this being gambling, right? Like, just entertain that thought right now. If you're somebody that's so hard against it being gambling, just put your mind in that position where it is gambling. You've got people that are clearly addicted to this sort of stuff. They can't help themselves. We've seen so many stories about people going into debt, into credit card debt. They've chased their tails. They've sort of broken relationships, lost their family. You see this time and time again. We've covered it over half a dozen times on this channel. There are lots of stories on Reddit. There are lots of news articles written about this, lots of stories out there. So with that in mind, right, people doing themselves that kind of damage, and you're thinking it's gambling, put yourself in the position where it's gambling, read this email again. And to me, that's incredibly predatory, because they're trying to get somebody, they're trying to prey in on that part of your brain that gets addicted to this kind of stuff. And I don't like it. I don't understand why they need to do it. Like, obviously they're a business and they're here to make money and they can do what they want. But to me, this doesn't need to be done. I think they can make money, they can market, they can have fun, but not need to send stuff like this, because there are other emails that are also floating about where they're trying to give people coupon codes, and they've tried to give people like $25 credit off and things like that. I don't like seeing it. And obviously they're well within their rights to market their business. But when you're sort of offering a product like this, I think you start getting into some murky waters, and I don't think it looks good. And I think the optics of it are horrible, and I think this primarily leans on gambling. And this looks like gambling. I think if you were to take, what they do as a business and explain to somebody that doesn't understand cards what is happening, and then you show them emails like this, you'd be like, hey, that's no different to sort of what sports books do. That's no different to, going to a casino. Like, sure, you have to physically go to those things, but, the optics of it, the way it's being sold, show them a live stream where breakers are selling them Arena Club packs or selling them codes. It just doesn't go down well. It's very much done like you've got a dealer pushing drugs onto, their customer. Like, it's just irky. It stinks, in my opinion. And I want to get your thoughts down below, because, like I explained today in my live stream, here in Australia, our gambling regulations are pretty tight, and stuff like this wouldn't fly. And where, things like Arena Club and Fanatics Live and whatnot go wrong is the lack of controls and measures that in their app, right? That they sort of have nothing to protect consumers from themselves. And when you sit in on these breaks and you see the way breakers push shit product onto people, and you'll see them push shit repacks onto people, and they'll get skunked, and they keep pushing them to chase their tail to go ahead and buy more, you sort of realize really quickly that this is not a good practice, right? It's not sustainable, it's not helping people, and it's most certainly preying on that gambling aspect in our brains. And the reason why I brought up, the Australian gambling regulation in our apps is because they have things in there that, allow you to set limits when it comes to like daily spending, weekly spending. They allow you to sort of ban yourself from those platforms so you can't then re-register. They have things in place to protect, you from yourself. And because you can sit there on an app and just press buttons to gamble away, you can sort of, get caught really deep. You can spiral down really quickly, and these things are no different, right? And if Whatnot and Arena Club and Fanatics Live and all these other repack sellers and breakers want to sort of improve and make this industry sustainable long term, they need to start, thinking of how they can protect their consumer from themselves. I've talked about Cherry Collectibles here in Australia many times when talking about this topic. They're one of the very few breakers that I've seen actively try and protect consumers. Like, sure, their prices are expensive. They get a lot of hate here in Australia. But their owner has gone on the record many times, and I've seen it happen firsthand when I've been breaking with him, 5-10 years ago, is they'll allow people to say, hey, Grayson, I've spent too much money this week. Don't let me buy any more product. And if I do, and you find out it's me spending with another card or something along those lines, refund it. And they've done that. And they've put people, on, temporary bans so they can't go ahead and do that, because he wants to look after his consumers, because he understands slippery slope that can happen, right? They can see all this money being spent in the back end. So for, Arena Club to be sort of, treating customers like this, I just don't think it's good. And this is not the only article that's popped up. There's some others that, Boston Card Hunter has covered on Instagram in the last few days as well. You can see here that it's been 15 days since your last pack rip. Use his code to get some money off. Like, this is just crazy to me. Like, 15 days is not that long. It's just over 2 weeks, clearly, 14 plus 1. But to sort of go after customers, it's not good. And like the stuff over here where it says slab save guaranteed, you'll get an offer of at least 80% of the pack price, regardless of how much your card is estimated to be worth. This stuff to me it stinks. It's like they just want to keep the money coming. And obviously they're a business, they're here to be profitable, but not like this, guys. Like, you don't need to do it like this. And I don't like, and I really want to get your thoughts down below. Obviously that was a Reddit thread. I think they were asking for the legitimacy of the email. I've had some people tell me they've seen it themselves. A few people have forwarded on similar emails like this to me. Some came through today after my live stream, actually. But you can see here in the comments, it's predatory email, the way they're being framed to sort of click people and entice you and make it a bit personal. You're going to be helping this person. Like, I think it stinks. I don't like it. And I don't know how people can sort of see this and justify it. And obviously, people like Mike G might cop hate for this, right? Because he's sponsored by Arena Club. I don't think it's an issue if you are sponsored by Arena Club. Personally, I wouldn't take it because I wouldn't feel super ethical about it. But they, as content creators, as people willing to take money from this company, probably should sit there and say, hey, like, can you maybe tone down these kinds of emails? Can you maybe not do them? Like, do you need to do them? Because this just reeks of total predatory nature. And when you look at it through the lens of gambling, people that, are trying to stop spending and they're trying to do the right thing because they can't help themselves. So they're taking that step back and now getting emails sent to them that's really pressuring them to sort of go ahead and spend. And obviously, you guys will say they need to protect themselves from themselves. They need to, ban the emails. They need to do whatever they can. But guys, that's not how the world works. And if you want to learn about addiction, in particular gambling addiction, read about it. You'll see that it's not as simply as saying stop doing it, right? People have a serious issue with this. It's a disease. It's considered that. People have laughed at me in the past when I've talked about that. But just Google it, pull your heads in and actually do some research, because this is a problem. And stuff like this is going to kill this industry long term because it's not sustainable. Some questions came up today, and I'm going on a huge rant right now. This is not pre-planned or anything, but a question came up today around like how many repeat customers are they getting? Like, I don't think there's a whole lot of repeat customers using this. I'd love to see what Arena Club's metrics look like in the back end, like how many returning customers they are actually getting. For me, the churn would be really high. And I think, 70, 80%, maybe it's more, maybe it's less, but I have a feeling it's maybe 70, 80% are new customers, because I don't see how people can consistently spend money on this platform and wanting to keep coming back after you get skunked and skunked and skunked. And obviously, when I talk about repeat customers now, I'm excluding breakers, because breakers that would be trying to sell this for consumers or giving them credits and things like that would be a key factor for this, and people that are aligned to Arena Club. But to me, I just don't see how people will regularly go ahead and use this. And obviously, I've talked in the past as well about what this means for the industry long term. Like, this stuff is only going to be sustainable when the economy is good, because what happens, right? You've got all these breakers, all these repackers selling crap in the hope that the end consumer is going to want to buy it. Because if somebody gets skunked on a pack, somebody has to want to still own that card long term. And even the slightly more expensive cards, somebody has to want to buy it. People aren't necessarily going into these things to get cards they want. They do it to have a bit of fun. They do it for that gambling. They want to scratch that itch. And that stuff only works if there's somebody there willing to buy the cards after the pack has been bought. And for now, that's obviously happening. But if you go to shows, you're seeing a lot of people, buy out tables and things like that. But that money is not going to be there if stuff keeps going the way it is. Because if people keep getting skunked and they're not getting that return on that investment, and they're seeing it for what it is, they're seeing it as a circus, they're seeing it as a casino, they're seeing all these businesses take the piss and willing to rip people off, they're not going to want to be around long term. And if they are not around long term, who's going to be there to buy it? It's the collectors. And if the collectors are the ones that get burned and get turned away because the industry is catering to everything but them, the same thing is going to happen. And if there's no collectors to buy this crap's not going to be worth shit long term. So share your thoughts down below. This was 11 minutes, as I can see down below, of just total unplanned ranting. I want your thoughts. I think this thing stings. I think it's totally predatory. And maybe I'm in the minority on that. And as always, guys, I'm just trying to share my opinion here and have a bit of fun and sort of raise some awareness of some of these issues in this space, because I don't think a lot of people are. There's very few people in this space that push back. And, maybe I'm off base, but I just don't like it. And I think they can, achieve the same goals without having to, go down to this level of predatory behavior. This just stinks. It's lazy. It's low effort, and it's shady as fuck in my personal opinion. So apologies for swearing. Share your thoughts down below. Just quickly, I did a live stream today. I was poking the bear at the Professor Sports cards about buying subs and promotions and things like that. I was joking, guys. The plan was for me to go onto his live stream afterwards and poke the bear a little bit more. It looks like that landed very flat, which I do apologize for. I was just trying to have a bit of fun, and I didn't intend for it to come across that way. So I do apologize. The plan was, like I said, to jump on his live stream and have a bit of fun. I had some people think I was being serious in the comments of that. I certainly wasn't. So anyway, take that for what it is. You can believe me or not, but that is the honest truth. I had a conversation with him. He put everything to bed when I raised it maybe a month or two ago. I don't think he's buying subs of you guys. I was taking the piss today. Just please take my word for that. So anyway, I'll see you guys and girls in the next one, and hope you all have a good day.